Welcome to the first episode of Tailgate Talks, presented by Saturdays and Stories. I'm joined by Sean and Rick, and this will be a weekly show where we discuss college football news. Have Sean versus Sean Pick'em, and Rick will have his toast and roast. Tonight's episode will be a little bit different because the games haven't started and there's nothing really to cover. So we're going to have an episode where we plant our flag. We're going to make our predictions for the season, and we will review them in week 6 or 7, and at the end of the year to see how right or wrong we might be. Let's start with the conference champs. We're going to start with the ACC, since I think everyone's going to be in.
So much to talk about.
There's not much to talk about. There's a few sleepers in the ACC that I think could make a run at it. But I got Miami.
It's Miami.
I think we all have Miami.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like you said, Virginia Tech could get hot with Franklin.
SMU live up to the billing. You know,
Kevin Jennings senior year.
top 20. Jennings been doing it for a while.
Not sold on SMU, but
I don't think Virginia Tech will have the talent quite there yet.
you're right.
But I think NC State is going to be better than last year.
I
with,
like the way they
what is
look.
his name?
I like
CJ
Bailey.
Bailey.
Bailey's
And Louisville, only because of a schedule standpoint.
A lot of it's going to go by the schedule, but I think they're going to beat each other up in the ACC. And with the exception of Miami, I think they have a chance to run the table. No offense, Rick, but
we'll get to that.
okay. But yeah, I think Miami.
I don't think there's even much discussion. I think the better question is, who does Miami play in the conference championship?
I think it's Louisville for me because of a scheduling standpoint. If you pull up their schedule quick.
Yeah, Louisville.
Yeah.
Yep.
They play Ole Miss early in the season, I think.
But I think that's going to be more competitive than people think.
I think so. I think it's going to be a very
That's
good
a tough first game.
And that back half of their schedule is all ACC bottom feeders, I believe.
Syracuse, Georgia Tech might give them a little fit. I mean, I don't think they're going to be as good as last year.
Now, they do have a bunch of transfers
but
here's
another thing. You got Pitt and Kentucky, the last 2 games of the season, upset-minded.
But Kentucky won't affect the conference.
True.
So it's kind of...
Yeah, Pitt. It looks like Pitt, North Carolina, Georgia Tech are their last 3, but you never know what Belichick's going to do down there.
That's a dumpster fire, and
he'll
be fired by midseason, I believe. So
give him a chance.
Again,
We'll get Teal Bulkhead. Teal Bulkhead.
Anyway.
So I guess we can officially all just plant the flag, cement it in there.
I'm saying Miami. Next topic.
We might be proved idiots by the end of the year by just saying this, but I don't.
I mean, we wouldn't be alone.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's going to pick Miami.
And let's move on to the Big 12, who mainly has one option, but could be.
I have 3 options in my book.
I have 2.
Why don't you go ahead and give us your 2?
Yeah, who's your 2?
My 2 are Texas Tech and BYU. I'm officially going to take Texas Tech only because the money spent there. I just think they have a better talent roster than the rest of the Big 12.
I think Will Hammond's going to do good with Tech. Obviously, Sorsby would be better, but I don't think either one of them.
Would he be better?
You think so? What makes him better?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I said that backwards.
No, he'll bet. He'll bet some games, but is he going to win games? We won't find out.
That's that part. Cut that part out. But I like what Will Hammond's going to do at Texas Tech with them.
Yeah.
But I don't have them or BYU.
Well, Texas Tech doesn't even play BYU in the regular season, so.
I do not have Houston. Go Pokes, baby. Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State.
I think they might be on the biggest turnaround.
Oklahoma State.
So, Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State.
Oh, how many transfers they had in? 70?
Brought in 70 new people. We'll get to that.
Let's look at
Gives away a little bit more of what's to come later on, but I got Oklahoma State and the Cowboys winning the Big 12.
Dude, week 2, they're going to get stomped on Oregon. I mean, Houston.
It doesn't count in the Big 12.
I agree, but it's still a game they got to play. Their schedule is pretty favorable. Texas Tech.
Late in the season.
Yeah, November 14th. Houston's going to be a tough one. West Virginia will give them a fit. They run all over the place.
Yeah, but
that score will be 100 to 99. It usually is when those 2 play.
Rich Rod will go for 2 at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out.
Let's see how it goes.
That. Is that your
roaster toast me when it comes to the end of the season?
See, I'm with you with Texas Tech and BYU, and I put Houston in there.
I
think they're on the right track. I don't know if they're. I don't want to pick BYU. I'm not in love with BYU. I think I'm going to go with Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech is going to be my Big 12.
There is some issues going on with BYU right now too. Have you looked into that at all?
No,
with the coach and the AD.
I wasn't getting along.
I was glad Penn State didn't get him. Let's just say that. For whatever reason, it just didn't feel like he would fit at State College. So
yeah.
But
speaking of Penn State, let's move on to the Big Ten because this one could be
Big Ten.
A lot more variants. You want to start us off?
I'll start us off. Man, there's a couple, right? You've Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana.
Well, hold on. If you're walking down the street and you see a couple holding hands, how many people do you see? Don't say a couple, name 3, 4, 5 teams.
Oh, here
you said
go.
a couple.
All right, I have a handful.
There you go.
My apologies.
There you go.
A handful of teams. But I'm going to go with Ohio State, and I have a dark horse champion coming in the back door, Washington Huskies.
I know somebody else is big on him, or big on Washington. I think you're about to say possible, but you got to pick one.
It's Ohio State. I'm going with Ohio.
It makes me cringe, but
I didn't go Ohio State. I went with Oregon. I think this is a big year for Oregon. I think their schedule is more favorable, I believe.
I'm looking at it now. Boise State to start off. His favorite team now, apparently, Oklahoma State. Week 2.
Yeah. I think USC comes to.
No, they're at USC.
But Ohio State comes to Oregon.
Here's another team that's going to give people fits, and we might talk about them a little bit later. UCLA.
Yeah.
I don't think they're a pushover like they used to be. Northwestern's tough. Ohio State. I think Oregon has a tough schedule, actually. I think Ohio
Big Ten is going to be super competitive this year,
yeah.
and there's literally 5 or 6 teams that you could pick that
could
at the end of the season you wouldn't even blink at it.
The good thing for Oregon is they don't have to come to Penn State this year. I mean, they snuck out of there last year, and things went downhill fast for Penn State. But I also have Oregon or Ohio State written down. As much as it pains me to say it, I have to go Ohio State. I'm a big fan of Jeremiah Smith. I don't care for Ryan Day, but
I just think they have so much talent and so much talent coming back.
Yeah,
offense and defense.
Did you see the weight Julian Sand put on too?
Yeah, he's got stronger, and he's Jeremiah Smith's
this anytime you want because the homer in me be like, oh, Penn State, but I like our schedule, but.
Definitely favorable.
It is favorable, but what are we going to get with basically Iowa State in blue and white? You know what I mean?
We could sneak in to the Big Ten championship based off schedule alone.
We could.
I don't know.
We've done it before.
I don't know if Penn State a couple years ago.
Yeah, we snuck in. I don't know that we deserve to be there, and we stayed with Oregon a little bit. But I keep saying we, but it's Penn State. It's we. So I think Ohio State's just going to have too much firepower. I think they'll. Even if they lose week 2 to Texas, is week 2?
Yeah.
Week 2 to Texas, that loss, the way NCAA is, they'll condone getting their team in there, whoever they want in there. Oh, they had an early loss. Yeah. It's whatever's convenient for what they want.
As I learned, early losses do matter.
For Notre Dame, maybe, but not Ohio State.
That came down to head-to-head.
Yeah. That was 100% head-to-head.
Everybody just hates Notre Dame because they're not them, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Hate us because you ain't us.
But, yeah. other than that, like you said, Washington's going to be tough to beat. I think USC is going to be tough.
For Oregon, though, if not now, when?
Yeah, they've had several. Lanning is a psychopath, but he's got them playing.
I like Lanning as a coach.
Yeah, it's like your last guest. Your one guest you asked, the professional wrestler.
Yeah.
You said, I think you brought up Lanning would give the best promo. I agreed with. I was listening. I'm like, Dan Lanning, and then you said, I'm like, exactly. He's a wild man, but
he's got the fire.
He's a winner. So, and they got the money to do it. They got that Nike money. So, I still think Ohio State. I think they're gonna win the Big Ten. And
you got Ohio State. I got Oregon this year.
Okay.
I think it's their year to make a run. I'm not necessarily saying they're going to win the national
I would be
championship.
happier with that,
Yeah.
but
I don't know if I'd be happier or not because I don't know.
I don't have anything against Oregon. I mean,
I think the most contested, you said about how deep the Big Ten is. I think the SEC is going to be the hardest one to pick correctly.
and there was more. I was like, I can't pick. I got to pick one out of these 4 that I wrote down, but there's several I probably should have wrote down. But why don't you start? Go ahead.
I have one team written down.
One team.
One team.
I think I know who it is.
I don't think you do.
I might not then.
Georgia.
Okay.
Georgia, You're going to go all in on the Go Dogs, baby. Woof, woof, woof.
I just have a feeling on it. I know everyone's big on Texas.
They are.
They have a brutal schedule. It's I just think Georgia will at least make the championship, and if they do, they will be up to play that game and they'll win the championship. SEC championship, that is.
Okay. Who do you have them playing in the SEC championship?
I mean,
Texas, maybe.
Who knows? It could be one of 4 or 5 teams.
Sean, who you got?
Oklahoma, maybe too.
Yeah, Oklahoma. I didn't write them down as one of my possibilities, but I like their defense. Did they shut out Alabama last year, or they kept them to under a certain amount of 100 yards or something?
Yeah.
Something crazy that
Alabama had running the ball issues last year, though.
So obviously Texas and Georgia were 2 of my options. I wrote down, call me crazy, LSU or Texas A&M.
Marcel Reese?
Yeah,
Reed.
Yeah, I think Texas A&M and Texas Tech to me just have that, like, Texas Tech brought in a lot of players, spent a lot of money. A&M's kind of doing the same thing. College Station's a great place to play.
Part of me is curious, though, because I think Texas A&M might have been a scheduled team last year.
It could have been, yeah.
They
did have a good year. They were in the running for the SEC. They could have made that.
They lost to Texas in the last game of the year.
I've always liked LSU. I don't know why. It might just be their colors. I don't know. But for some reason, I always pick, and our pickings are like LSU. But I just don't know that the first year there for him is going to be enough. I'm just going to go with and just say Texas. I think Arch Manning does it. Sark, I think that Tennessee guy you had on didn't know what he was talking about when he said Sarkisian can't coach. No disrespect to Canadian football fans, but I think the guy's proved himself. I like Texas. I think I'm gonna take them to the SEC.
Texas is another team that, if not now, when.
Yeah. Now's the time.
Arch can't get any higher.
Peaked.
And it's not that he has been a bust. He hasn't lived up to the expectations, but they were lofty expectations. But is this the year he takes another step and he leads them to where they want to get back to?
I think he needs to. I think if they don't make a deep playoff run this year, he could be on the hot seat next year.
They want to win. They want to win now.
There's a couple teams who I think if they don't make a playoff run this year, USC being another. I think if they don't make a playoff run, Lincoln Riley might be out.
They brought him in to win.
Yeah.
So that loss last year for USC, not to talk about the Big Ten again, but that loss to Penn State was brutal for him. They had that game won, and then Penn State pulled out a miracle. But I've always been a believer that the SEC was slightly overhyped, and the ESPN bias, and but you still have to admit they play a tough schedule. They play every week is a hammer. Look at Texas, Ohio State week 2. Give them respect for scheduling that game. Tennessee, Oklahoma, Florida, Ole Miss, Mizzou, LSU, Texas A&M. Throw in UTSA, Roadrunners. They'll score a ton of points on you. I don't think they got anything for Texas, but that's a tough schedule.
Yeah.
So if they run that gauntlet, you can. That I think they can. Even if they come out 1 or 2, they sneak into the playoffs, have a run.
But if they get to the playoffs with that schedule and say 2 losses, they're already battle tested and ready to go.
Yeah, as long as they're healthy, But
I went with Bama.
What?
I went with Bama.
Ooh.
To do what?
To go to the conference championship game
and lose
to Georgia.
There you go. Okay, good for you.
I think Keelan Russell is going to do.
You think he'll be a starter?
When did you get Paul Feinbaum on here? That's awesome.
I think Keelan Russell's going to be dynamic for them. I think, DeBoer's kind of got it figured out now.
Another guy I'm glad Penn State didn't get.
And I think their schedule plays out a little better than some. And I got them in there going against Georgia, but I think the Dogs defense, Gunnar Stockton being there, coming back.
I think we've seen this from a time or two, right?
Yeah.
We've seen Alabama.
I mean, their regular season games between the two have always been barn burners to the end. It's been
I
awesome.
was looking at the last however many national titles, obviously Big Ten the last 3, and then before that it was 4 straight SEC. It was Georgia, Alabama, and Georgia twice, and Clemson in there, and then it's like Alabama and Georgia all over the place. So, yeah, I agree with you, Rick. Their schedule on paper,
that schedule is really favorable for them to.
Can they run the ball?
If you have a true dynamic quarterback,
it'll open up a lot.
It'll open up everything for you.
We're going to talk about this week, but that November 7th game against LSU, that could dictate a little bit of who goes to the conference.
I could see Lane Kiffin at LSU sliding in there too, but I just think
Alabama. It's our turn, huh? They haven't had enough.
Yeah, he's got to get there without Saban. They got to get there without Saban.
Is that possible? Saban got out. He knew what was coming down the line.
I think
playing field was starting to get even. Now, do I think the SEC is going to start climbing back and maybe have a champion again this year? It could happen. I mean, 3 straight Big Tens.
No,
I'd love to see a 4th one, but I would be shocked if SEC came back. They're going to figure it out.
There's just like we said, there's so many teams that you could almost close your eyes and throw a dart at the wall.
And they're right about that. SEC's deep.
But here's what I say about the SEC compared to the Big Ten. I think there's 4 teams in the Big Ten that can win a national title, maybe 3 definitely.
I'd say honestly this year for me,
just 2.
I'm seeing 2. I haven't really talked about Indiana. I love Signetti, big Signetti guy, but he lost a lot.
But he got some coming back from that ruling.
I think Indiana could go 9-3 and miss the playoffs.
I think if Indiana,
we'll get to that. They did get some defensive help back from that ruling recently. So,
yeah, I mean, let's face it, the change of quarterback is going to be huge.
Yeah,
Mendoza did okay in the NFL. I mean,
but I think his system helps the quarterback.
True. Yeah,
so,
I mean,
but also I don't know anything about Hoover, but we saw towards the end of the season, throughout the season, how smart Mendoza was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Super high, regular IQ, football IQ. So does it, I guess the question for Signetti's offense, does it take somebody that intelligent and complex, to break down and be successful in it? Is he able to do it?
I'm rooting for him. Yeah. Yet another team, a toenail in the back of the end zone to beat Penn State at home. Not to keep bringing that up, but that's just the difference in being a national champion or going 7-6.
Yeah,
is one blade of grass.
That's what I said. I mean, they could run the table, go back to back, or I could see them going 9-3 and missing the playoffs.
Yeah. But
So we talked about our conference champs. Let's talk about the biggest player picks of the year. So we're going to talk about which player is going to be the biggest impacted was a transfer into the team this year.
Okay.
All right. Who wants to kick us off?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I got to go with Drew Mestemaker in Oklahoma State. I did that because
that's some orange that you can put on. Oh, he's got a whole on.
I did that basically because, he's not the transfer that's going to make, that you didn't know about that's going to make a big impact. You knew about him. He's coming in. Him and his coach Eric Morris. They're going to put up some numbers.
Yeah, they will. They will.
And then I also put in Cam Coleman from Texas.
Yeah,
I know you guys, have some things on him too, but you give Arch Manning a big time target that can make big contested catches with a big body in the SEC. And
I should tell you something about Texas too. It's not like he's coming from he's coming from Auburn,
right?
Yeah. And in my history, Auburn's always been a contender in the SEC. Yeah. So Texas probably threw him a nice little bag, but yeah.
And him and Ryan Wingo, I think Ryan Wingo's numbers might go up a little bit too if it plays out the way they want it to, because the double coverage on him will open up Wingo some.
Yep. Are we picking just one, or
these are my 2 that I went with? My homer pick is
Notre Dame.
of course. My homer pick is Mylan Graham, the wide receiver that Notre Dame got from Ohio State.
He didn't see the field at Ohio State.
Well, I was going to say, we can relate to that. We got Julian Fleming at Penn State. We were all excited, and what do you have?
3 catches.
10 catches. Yeah.
3 catches for the year.
You know, I'm not shooting it. The guy, we wanted him out of high school. He was committed to us.
He was great out of high school.
And goes to Ohio State. So I'm bitter to begin with, and amazing talent. But in Ohio State, you could be amazing and be 4th on the depth chart.
Right. He's going to commit.
He could come into Notre Dame and
a lot of snaps.
Be a hammer,
you know, hoping we strike on him. The reports look good early, but
I wrote down. I'm just going to go over these real quick. 1, 2, 3. I wrote down like 5 names. Obviously Mensa from Duke to Miami. I'm sure you may mention him. 3 of these guys are quarterbacks. I think Sam Leavitt at LSU is going to do. I mean, with Lane Kiffin down there and some weapons in the SEC, I think he was good enough in Arizona State.
His health is a question if he's healthy.
Right. Obviously, I got to put out my man Rocco Beck. I think, playing at Happy Valley, sink or swim. I mean,
I thought about putting him on my list. I think his leadership's really going to show, his maturity.
I think him and Campbell together are going to help. And the tight end, Bramer, I think he could have a big year, but when does a Penn State quarterback ever really put up big numbers?
Right.
They really don't. But
that kind of fits to Beck's style because he can throw for 300 one week if you need him, but he can run for 100 the next week if you need him. So I think he can do what's asked of him based on the game plan. So where were we?
We were talking about Rocco Beck and obviously Cam Coleman. You brought him up. He's getting a lot of hype right now. I think he's going to be good with Texas and Arch Manning. My last one, I threw on a defensive guy. I don't know much about him. I was reading up on him in a couple of magazines. John Henry Daly came from Utah to Michigan. I think Michigan
Notre Dame was in on him.
Okay,
as a transfer.
Yeah, I'm reading good things about him. I think he can make an impact in Michigan. I think they can make I think there's a lot. It's messy over there.
Yeah.
So I don't hate Michigan as much as I hate Ohio State. I'll root for them if they play each other. I'll root for any Big Ten team once they get past us in the playoff stuff. But I think Michigan always has a tough defensive player that can make some noise. And obviously they went after Utah. I think if I had to pick one of those guys, I'd probably just go with Mensa for Miami. I think, like I said, we all said ACC champs and playoff. I think he's gonna put up some numbers. So those were my 5 I had.
I wrote down 3. I wrote down Drew Mestamaker only because their record was 3-9 last year.
Yeah.
2-10. I think they're going to turn that around. Maybe if they go 6-6, 7-5, I think it might be a win. And I think they're capable to do that. I think he'll have a big number of yards if they're to do that. One I wrote down for University of Miami, Damon Wilson. They lose Ruben Bain. They lose Mesidor. He's an edge rusher coming in, and I think he could be poised to have a big year.
I think there's a good amount of defensive transfers out there that,
And then Coy Parrish came from Minnesota, went to Oregon. I believe he plays free safety.
I like Minnesota. I like me some PJ Fleck. Yeah. I didn't really.
He was
very good. Consider Coy, especially going to Oregon, really helping that defense and having a ton of playmakers around him, and Dan Lanning on as his head coach.
Yeah,
going from one crazy head coach to another.
I'd say if those bigger teams are going after him, they're worth a look. You know what I mean? I'd say any of those bigger teams are going to have some good transfers.
But with Damon Wilson going into Miami, they needed another edge rusher, so I think that'll really bolster that defensive line down, and he'll be.
I mean, that's one thing. Transfer portal's okay. I get to give these guys. I mean, to go from one school, but the rich are getting richer. It's like these smaller teams, they get gutted by the transfer portal, and I love parity. Like, I don't want to see the same teams every year. I love, we can get into it later, but I love those smaller schools getting into the playoff. I think that's good for the sport. If you go undefeated, you should get a chance, or one loss win your conference, you get a chance. But then guess what? Now all the eyes are on your players, secrets out, and hey, you come to our school and you get all this money. It's just like, now they got to start over, and while these other teams are just staying up here. But I don't hate the transfer.
I was kind of curious because Alonzo Barnett didn't follow Chesney to UCLA. But he did transfer. He's at
JNU.
UCF now.
You see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not one of my picks, but usually the quarterback follows the coach.
Yeah.
In most cases, he did.
For a reason.
Yeah.
Maybe Chesney didn't want him.
Maybe he's not Big Ten I hate to say it, but maybe he's not going to be able to make the jump. I don't know.
It's a big jump.
Another transfer.
And he does have Nico there too.
Yeah, I was going to say they have the guy from Tennessee.
Byron Brown from Auburn following his coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said South Florida. That's what made me think of that. He's coming in, going to be the man, knows his coach's system.
Yeah. He may come up a little bit later and talk. Yeah. Where we going next?
Well, I think it's going to be a pretty quick one. Our second player pick is going to be who's going to be your NFL draft pick, first pick. How many options is there? 1, 2?
It depends. Right now,
I think
1.
If I'm gonna plant my flag, I have 1 pick.
But it also depends on how the NFL season plays out and what team needs number 1 pick. If you're talking Arch Manning is your number 1 pick, the Raiders stink. Are they gonna draft Arch Manning?
Mendoza gets hurt, doesn't play half the year.
Yeah,
they end up with the 3 wins at Sean said.
Yeah, they're not
taking Arch Manning.
Someone will trade up to get him though. They don't get a trade for him.
The Raiders would. I heard them say today on ESPN that next year the Raiders are going to do whatever they can to get Jeremiah Smith. So they'll have Genty, Mendoza, and Smith, and 3 straight drafts and be ready to score some points. But so you're going with Arch?
I don't think Jeremiah could be a second
Jeremiah,
option. Cam Coleman, maybe.
Dante Moore.
But you don't really see wide receivers go number 1.
You don't. I don't know.
When's the last time a quarterback did not go number 1 in the draft?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot there. Without looking it up, I can't.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
I can't. I know there's obviously.
For me, it's got to be Arch.
I went Dante Moore.
I had him.
He would have been the number 2, maybe possibly even the number 1 pick this year in the draft. Decides to come back to Oregon. Is it one of those where he came back, he proves he's that good, or is it one of those he comes back and now there's a bunch of film on him? You got him figured out, see his tendencies. So maybe now he went from the number 1 to guaranteed number 1 to number 3 pick. I think he's going to play good. I think he's going to end up being the number 1 pick. Position player, I had Dylan Stewart, defensive end out of South Carolina.
Yeah.
If somebody could, like the Raiders, then you pair him with Matt Crosby.
Yeah,
something
I think
that.
Some of them teams are going to look at some of these edges a big thing. I wrote down Colin Simmons out of Texas, who's an edge, a defensive lineman out of Ole Miss, Will Eccles, and I put Leonard Moore, a cornerback in Notre Dame.
I thought about Leonard Moore.
So with all that being said, as much as I want to go, I'm a big Jeremiah Smith fan. Like I said, even though he's Ohio State, but I'm with you. I think Arch is the pick. I think it's the family name, the story. I like Arch. He's a good kid. He's good team guy. I'll go ahead and go with you. I think he's going to be the number 1 pick. And like, if a team does
say the Raiders gets the number 1 pick,
I think
they're going to trade down.
Yeah, and they'll stockpile.
Even if it's just
I don't know though.
If Jeremiah Smith or Dylan Stewart's there,
but here's my thing.
And this is going to be great.
Well, they might trade the number 2.
They might trade the number 2
and get him. Yeah,
and they'll get an extra pick.
I think all signs point to Arch. We could be kicking ourselves come April and being like, but once again, not to go with what everyone else says, but the safe bet is Arch.
Yeah.
So,
but also was Fernando Mendoza even in the conversation as a first-round draft pick, let alone number 1?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know.
They were good the year before with him.
He was a Cal before that.
Yeah, it was Curtis Rourke.
It was. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't even know if he was
conversation pretty quick. They're talking Heisman, and
I don't know if he was even in the. I have to go back and look, but I don't even know if he was in top 2-3 round consideration. He wasn't a bum by any means, but I think more of
recency bias for me. Like he proved himself, and
1,000%.
But with that being said, he escalated so quickly. Arch already has that hype that he didn't have, so teams are already looking at all. They've probably been looking at him since he came to college. Yeah.
And they got another one coming.
I was just gonna ask, does Peyton have a kid that's a quarterback, right? He's like 9th, 10th grade?
Something like that. Yeah, he just Did you hear his interview? He sounds just like his dad. Yes.
One thing I did see about Arch though, and I don't know if this is just internet trolls, his high school career, they were kind of comparing him to like a smaller school, like say like he played at a small school and he was beating up on guys like us when, these other studs are playing at 6A schools in Florida and putting up numbers. But you can't knock a kid for where he goes to high school. If he's got it, he's got it. Texas thought enough of him to give him a shot, and he's so
he could have went anywhere he wanted to in college.
Yes. So I think I'm going with Arch.
So here's a question about the number 1 pick in the draft. So say you're, CJ Carr, who can come back, and it's projected
last year.
Do you come back? If it's projected, to be,
and I think
you're projected to be the third quarterback.
Does he win the national title this year?
Then no. Into that.
If he wins the national title, he's not.
If you win the national title,
he's reached him.
If he wins the national title, he's winning the Heisman. Then there's no conversation.
Yeah. So a lot can dick it. We got a long season, but
I think you're going to see that more and more though with
NIL. Now, if I'm going to project it to be number 3 pick and say it's the Jets, we know what happens to Jets and quarterbacks. I'd go back to school.
No. Yeah.
Hopefully,
no, you're right. Because you're going to.
I can get the same amount of money, if not more, my first year.
Make a run for national title.
And
that's true. I mean, Matt Leinart did it before NIL was even a thing.
Right. Same with Reggie Bush.
Yeah, they came back. So, what's next, pal?
We're going to talk about buying and selling. We're going to start with the good, though. We're going to start with a team that you think is going to exceed expectations of them.
You know what? I'll start so you don't sound like a homer, but it's Penn State for me. I don't know what the expectations are in Happy Valley, but the expectations are at least. I think maybe. Hey, we're going to show everybody that we're back. It's not going to be a punch you in the mouth. We're winning everything back, but I think the expectation is they're not going to be what they were last year. But I think they're going to surprise some people with a favorable schedule and a whole new culture coming in.
I agree with everything you said, but would that be more of a biggest turnaround? For me, it's the biggest turnaround. The expectations are
9-3.
Yeah, based on schedule, based on Campbell, based on Rocco Beck. I think the expectations are what they're going to finish, in my opinion. Do I think they're going to defeat it? No. Do I think they're going to go, 3-9? No. So I think the expectations are 8-4. But
I think, that's why with that, I think they're going to be in consideration for the Big Ten championship game. That schedule plays out really nice. They shouldn't be really tested until USC in October.
Wisconsin coming in. It could be a little bit better. I mean,
Northwestern's not a slouch anymore.
I just think they're going to come out and they're not going to be blowing teams out. But I think they're going to be.
You're right.
They're going to be winning games. They're going to be winning some of those games comfortably. It's not going to be in the past where you didn't show up for games. I think Matt Campbell does a great job of having his teams do that.
Do you think it's fair, though, that a team like Penn State with that schedule makes the Big Ten championship game over a team like Ohio State with their schedule? They play Texas, we play Marshall and Temple.
It would just be like Indiana 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They made the playoff because of their schedule. I don't think they were as good as they were.
No, you're right. So, but is it right, though? I mean, but how do you – what's the right way to pick it? Like,
I don't think there is a right way, unless you go to the – always mentioned Super League.
I like his idea, though. He's had several times about SEC and Big Ten play and get,
at least get the Big Four conferences where you can line them up one through how many ever and play them out. Play like someone 5 versus for Big Ten, play 5 versus SEC.
Almost do it World Cup style.
Yeah. Well, not
play in little groups and then
I'm just saying one game a year. I'm just saying one game a year.
Match up
where the 4 teams they switch every year. So Big Ten might play ACC and the SEC play Big 12, and then
so the Big Ten ACC challenge that they did in basketball do the same thing.
I mean, it sucks for them smaller teams to get the big paychecks to go. That's one less.
But it's only one game.
You're right. So I'm no disrespect to Marshall. I don't want to play Marshall.
Yeah.
I really don't. I would rather play.
For the record, Notre Dame didn't either.
Well, I'd rather play. I love playing Auburn.
Yeah.
Those 2 games the game we went to at Penn State was awesome.
And now, I think if they expand the playoffs, you're going to get more of those games.
Yeah.
Less teams are going to, schedule the cupcakes because you can afford an extra game in your schedule where it's a toss-up whether you win or lose.
It makes it tough that they have a grueling 9-game conference schedule now. That does make things tough because injuries are real and teams are not as steep as they used to be.
Well, now, if you win a national title going to the playoffs, how many games do they play by the end of the year?
Like 15, 16.
16.
Depends on if you get a bye.
It's an NFL schedule.
Yeah. And I mean,
With most schools,
they
having
can
to go to
handle it.
class.
Let's be honest; these are the best of the best, but it's a lot for any human. Like so. So you think Penn State's
Penn State is my team that's going to exceed expectations.
Okay.
And my other one, I think, the biggest test for Penn State is going to be Michigan and Washington.
USC.
And I don't think, and then can win. I think the thing that I want to see is, can Campbell win those games that Franklin couldn't?
Well, those games aren't the games that Franklin couldn't win. Those are not comparable to Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, Michigan.
But Franklin would have the games where they were supposed to beat those teams.
But he can ease into that because we're going to eventually play those teams.
You're going to get there.
We're going to play.
Go to.
But can he?
Exactly. So that's a good point. Can he do what Franklin
quote unquote couldn't do?
I was a huge Franklin fan up until that game against Illinois. How many years ago? Went to 9 overtimes. That's when he lost me. I stuck up for that guy, and he was great for the program. But I'm glad he moved on. And his stigma was he can't win the big one. But I tell you what, I keep going back to that Big Ten championship game we went to. He won that one down 21 points.
That was awesome.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, we'll talk about that another time. But yeah. But
I have one more too. Hawaii. Here's why. Last season, Hawaii won some games, got bowl eligible. Hawaii was fun to watch last year.
They're always fun to watch. They've been fun to watch since the late 90s.
Right.
Timmy Chang was out there just slinging it.
And he's now coaching them.
Oh, he's their head coach?
Yeah.
Oh, my buddy Gary loved Timmy Chang.
So I think they're fun to watch. Look for them as a dark horse in the Midwest Conference. And they don't ever really have expectations.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool to watch Hawaii be good. Plus, it gives you something after all the other games. Usually, you can pop on Hawaii.
Oh yeah, they're always
yeah.
The thing that's hard for Hawaii is their travel.
Yeah,
like that takes a toll, man. They're the most traveled. I remember when West Virginia first came to the Big 12, they were number 2 or number 3 most traveled team other than Hawaii.
Yeah, that's how they do it. They do it other than Hawaii.
Hawaii
travels like 30,000 miles a college football year.
Hawaii's got some tough games here. UNLV's going to be tough. New Mexico. I'm telling you, they got a local boy on their team from Bedford.
Oh,
yeah. The Swain boy plays out there.
Okay.
Mercury. Yeah, Mercury. He's the old Mercury Swain. I don't know. Yeah, he's tough. But no, I can see. I don't know what's their expectation. So what?
Yeah, right. They don't have expectation.
My whole thing is what is the expectation?
That's a good one.
And like I said, they're fun to watch.
Rainbow Warriors.
Yeah.
But
they're building a new stadium, I believe.
Yes, they are.
Well,
who do you got?
Of course, like always, I put a ton of I write a bunch down, but I'll just go real quick. Big Ten, I like UCLA, Michigan State. I think the reason why I put Michigan State, their expectation is last.
Yeah.
I think new coach. I think they could do better. Michigan State in the past has always been better. I don't understand why they're not good. They want to blame the coach they had there, Mel Tucker. I don't know what it was, but when D'Antonio was there, they were good.
They were gritty. They were tough.
Kirk Cousins was there winning game. They can bring it back. I think they'll exceed. I think they'll finish. I picked them, WVU, because they're basically picked last in the Big 12. I think their running game is going to be phenomenal.
WVU has an easy chance to get 4 or 5 wins.
They're going to get bowl eligible. I think they're going to be bowl.
And then some of the other concerns with WVU are does Rich Ruff finally have his quarterback?
Yeah.
Is it Michael Hawkins? Is it Scotty Fox? Which one of those is going to run the show?
It's got to be Hawkins, right?
For everything I've heard and read, is they're pretty close. They're neck and neck.
Oh, he better make a decision soon, but
he's going to have to. But I do like the WVU.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at the expectations. Kentucky expectations are last or second to last. Kentucky always finds a way to knock a team off, and that's fun to watch.
I think they're a chance at an early upset.
Yeah, I mean that last game of the year. We'll talk about upsets later. Louisville and Kentucky. That's the last game of the year. I threw in NC State. I threw in Auburn. I threw in South Florida.
Yep.
I like Hartline. I wanted Hartline.
I did too.
I did. I wanted him in Penn State. Look what he did I like watching him in the NFL when he played.
Yeah.
And then he goes to Ohio State. Look what he does with them receivers. I think he's going to do well down there. I don't know what the expectations really are in South
I
Florida.
think that's a good pick because of what are the expectations with, like, we know Hartline's a great recruiter. Obviously, he's a great wide receiver coach. And a
Can he run a
co-offensive
team?
coordinator.
Yeah.
Can he run a team? I'm sure he's
They got to start somewhere, right?
I think the expectations are pretty high for USF, though. You know,
Okay,
from living down there, I think the expectations are pretty high with new stadium coming in. They're trying to move up. The word on the street is they're trying to move up into a different conference. Whether it happens or not,
I see him in the ACC.
Yeah, ACC would be a good fit.
I'm going back to the Matt Grothy days.
Yeah.
When he played, when they were ranked number 2 in the country back then.
He went to Lake Gibson, which is
okay.
Lakers, so yeah.
Yeah, they had a good running back then, a stud linebacker. They were fun to watch back. They were Big East back then, weren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah,
they were.
Yeah, that was
the Big East days. Shout out to the Big East.
Oh
football.
man, I grew up watching Big East football. So, but yeah, out of all those, I think my team that exceeds expectations. I think Brandon's going to be happy. I'm going to say WVU. Yeah. I mean, there's some local. We don't really have a
keep country roads. Listen, Morgantown.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't been to Morgantown, you need to get there. It is a hell of a party.
Your cousin wants to go to school there. My daughter wants to go to school there.
My brother played football there, so
yeah.
I have a little soft spot for the Mountaineers.
Speaking of Brandon, Hustle Road Maple Products. Go check it out.
Proud sponsor of Tailgate Talk.
Absolutely. Best syrup you can find.
The only one I'll buy.
Straight out of Heisman, Pennsylvania.
Hustle Road Maple Products.
I believe it's hustleroadmapleproducts.com. They will ship to anywhere in the U.S.
They got a website now.
Anywhere in the U.S. Huh?
That's what they say.
Anywhere in the U.S. All right.
What's next, pal?
I still got to do my team that exceeds expectations.
I'm sorry, buddy. We talk too much.
Go ahead. Good. I wrote down 4. NC State being one of them.
I've always liked NC State.
I wrote Louisville down because I don't know. I think their over-under is at 7.5. I think they get above that. It might be 8.5 though.
See, I didn't pick them because I have them kind of pegged to be in the top 3 of the
challenging for
the ACC title.
Yeah.
I wrote down Clemson too.
I agree. Dude, Dabo is not going away.
Is Dabo on the hot seat?
He's not.
Never.
Unless he goes 2-10 or 3-9.
He's not. Clemson will mess around and win 6 games.
They cannot.
Yeah. They went on a run last year, didn't they? At the end of the season, they won like 4 or 5 straight games.
They made it to 6-6.
Yeah.
And played Penn State in the
Clemson's a good one because before they were the 9-3 and 4, and now we're sitting here talking like, what is their schedule going to be
in like 3 years? Didn't they?
What is their
what were they before that?
Going to be?
What were they before that?
I mean, they had some good seasons here and there, like everybody else, but
But I think my pick for a team that exceeds expectations is going to be the Florida Gators.
Schedule that. I mean, they're based on that schedule. They're expected not to win, but
I think they go 9. I think they go 9-3 this year.
9-3 with that. Hold on. Let's go back. Let's check the schedule real quick. Go ahead.
Well, they have Georgia and Tennessee.
Yeah,
right. Tennessee, I'm not sold on.
I've never. I think
I like Heupel as a coach. I didn't care for him as a player. I thought he was overhyped as a player. No pun intended. But
I think Tennessee is gonna have a tough year this year.
I think they are too. But that game with Florida is always close.
They have that 5-star quarterback coming in. If he starts, maybe.
Right, but Summerall, I think.
Well, they're going to start out 2-0. Florida Atlantic and Campbell.
Right.
No disrespect to those teams.
I mean, they played in USF in their first
at Auburn.
Yes, that's
week 3.
That's going to be the defining.
Yes, how they play against Auburn will dictate, I think, the rest of it because it doesn't get any easier. Mizzou, South Carolina gives people fits.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Beamer's on the hot seat, I believe.
Then you're at Texas, home against Georgia, home against Oklahoma. I mean,
home against Georgia.
And then they go to Kentucky after the gauntlet they just won. Kentucky's going to be hungry for a win.
In Kentucky, they're a team what are their expectations?
Well, that's what the last. But I think they're going to exceed that. That was one of the teams I brought up. I like Kentucky. And then Vanderbilt at Florida State, which we haven't even mentioned Florida State one time. It's probably a reason for that. Yeah, it's a shame what's going on down there.
Going from exceed expectation, let's talk about the biggest disappointment of the year.
Okay.
How about you want me?
Continue.
I might get flamed for this, but I wrote my biggest. I wrote 4 teams down. I'll start with the ones that UNC is going to be North Carolina is going to be a disappointment.
Well, there's
nothing to be disappointed about.
Okay, all right then. I think USC potentially.
I have USC as one of mine. I think they have a rough schedule,
but they're expected to be.
This isn't my pick.
They have them. ranked ahead of Penn State, which not saying much. Yeah,
Vaiava is at USC. I think he's a very good quarterback. I just, for whatever reason, I just see him. I just think they're going to disappoint.
It's a lot of hype.
Again.
I have two more.
Okay, go.
A&M. I think they're a scheduled team.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and plant my flag, and I'm going to say the team that's the biggest disappointment this year is going to be Texas Longhorns.
Well, anything less than a big SEC championship and a national championship would be disappointing for them.
I think they could potentially go 9-3 and miss the playoffs again this year. That schedule is tough
on paper.
I mean, let us know what you think, but I really think.
Wow, you can plant your flag on. That's what you're planting.
You picked Oklahoma State to win the Big 12, and you're claiming me for Texas as a disappointment.
That's funny.
Who do you got?
I went with. I only wrote three teams for this because once again, when you say disappointment, it's like what are their expectations? Which that's a great point. Like Texas is expected to be up there. When you're the number one team, you got a lot of people chasing you. Michigan. I think they're hyping them up to come back sooner than. What are they? They're projected ahead of Penn State.
Yeah, they're top 20.
Yeah, I think they're top 15 on the rankings, but I think they're going to be another dumpster fire, not only off the field but on the field. I'm not sold on that quarterback. I wrote Ole Miss. I think Kiffin leading out. What they got the defensive coordinator took over.
Golding.
They won some games. I think without Kiffin, they're not.
Trinidad is good though. Chambliss is good.
Yeah, I think.
And that's I
think if Trinidad Chambliss had the measures, he'd be in consideration for the number one pick.
You're talking. I wrote down he averaged 307 yards per game last year, had 22 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. That's a solid year. But I think they're I think they're predicted third in the SEC, fourth maybe. I don't even think they're going to finish that high.
Yeah.
I think Bama could have a chance of jumping them. LSU. Texas, Georgia. I think they're going to. And then I wrote SMU. Not sold on SMU. I mean, their quarterback good.
I think for SMU,
there are a lot of good
playoffs
quarterbacks.
Or bust, right?
Yes.
And will there be two ACC teams make the playoffs? Is the question.
Exactly. I mean, like we all said, Miami's are the team to beat in the ACC, but there's other teams in there that I don't even know if they're going to. I think they have a tough schedule too, don't they? We don't have to keep pulling it up. SMU. I mean, ACC. They like I said before, ACC they beat each other up.
I think
Pitt,
they do play.
Pitt could get down there and beat them. Or I don't even know if they play, but I'm saying a team like Pitt could knock them off. I think SMU whooped them last year.
I don't think there's as much parity in the ACC as there is the SEC. Yeah. The bottom of the ACC is closer to the top of the ACC than the bottom of the SEC is closer to the top of the SEC.
Yeah, I get that. I see what you're saying. I wrote another team on there. I think I wrote Utah, but then I scratched it out because I looked at their schedule.
Yeah.
I think their schedule's a little favorable.
I think they'll go 8-4, 9-3.
Yeah, so that's not disappointing. I'm going to say Michigan's my most disappointing team this year. I think I think they're ranked too high in the Big Ten. So I think Ohio State whoops them this year.
For me, most disappointing team, I think it's Colorado. I think the shine of Coach Prime's going to be worn off.
How dare you?
I think
I like Coach Prime. I think he's great for the sport.
I do, but I don't think he's living up to the hype and living up to his billing.
Why do you say that?
They went 10-2. And what did they do last year?
They lost Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
right.
And Geno Sanders. They lost a lot. It's hard to get people to go to
brought his guys with
Boulder. You know what I mean? It's not ideal.
Coach Prime's supposed to be able to pull in anybody. They lost Jordan Seaton to LSU. Another guy we could have considered for a
money talks
for a transfer.
He was going through health problems. I mean, the coach's got to be involved. So if he's having his own situation, I'm not saying he's not involved, but there's stuff going on up there that we don't know about. I mean, when you say disappointing, what are they?
I think they're going to have a losing season, and Coach Prime gone.
I think they're expected to be in a losing season.
So? Gone,
on his own terms, or you think?
I think on his own terms.
Do you think he'll land somewhere or take a little time off?
I think it might take a little time off, and then
go back. He's great on camera.
I think he's great in the studio.
Yeah,
I think the problem with Coach Prime is what you said: the health issues, and
he's got bigger stuff. He's Shador situation in Cleveland. He's paying attention to that. I'm not saying he can't separate, but when your son's involved in stuff, you want to be focused on that. It's hard.
It's tough. So and I think he's shown that he can do it and he's capable.
Yeah, he's proven. And I think he's got a lot of haters too, for whatever reason.
I think more or less the biggest thing for me is I think the shine of it, the recruiting is okay. It's not what I think they thought it would be at Colorado,
Well, yeah.
but at the same time, the transfer portal can make a lot of things happen. So I think they're going to have a losing season. I think Deion will go. Again, I think it's going to be on his own terms because
a couple of years ago, I kind of thought he might go to Florida State after Colorado.
I thought about that.
I don't think it'll happen.
You don't think? That'd be a good, back home.
Right
now, Colorado's picked to be 15th so I don't think you can get more disappointing than 15 out of 16 teams.
But if you're somebody who's been on the Deion train, I think you're just going to get disappointed again. Yeah. That's why I put them down there.
That's your team? That's who you're taking?
All right, so Colorado, Texas, and Michigan.
I did have USC down there too. That's a good but I'll go with, since USC was already mentioned, I'll go ahead with Colorado.
Okay.
I don't think USC makes playoffs either.
I can agree with that. Yeah, I don't think so either. I like Penn State to be competitive with them. I don't know if we'll beat them, but
I think Penn State beats USC by 2 scores.
Please.
Hot take.
All right, let's get into our tailgate talk picks. We're going to start with the game of the year.
Game of the year?
I have a couple written down. I have 5 written down that are big time games.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There's a lot. So I looked at a lot of those games, but I only went with a
one
couple.
that kind of stands above the rest because of the.
He's probably gonna pick an Oklahoma State game.
I am not. Obviously my homer pick of the year is Notre Dame Miami. That's the game that everybody just leave me alone. I just want to watch that game. I can't wait for that game.
Miami Notre Dame.
That's the number one on my list. That's not my pick. I don't know if that's my pick, but yeah, that's definitely.
I think college football. As a Notre Dame fan, college football is good when Miami's good.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame. Let's be honest. You don't have to be humble. When Notre Dame and Miami are good, that for me, I'm old school. I go back to the heyday, man.
Right.
Notre Dame was good. Miami was
Catholics
good.
Catholics versus convicts. That place is going to be electric. I think it's going to be an awesome game. It's at Notre Dame.
That's big.
A lot of emotion.
A lot of pressure for you guys.
A lot of pressure. A lot of emotions.
Week 10 though, so.
Yeah.
And that's a late. If you take that loss, that's a late loss. How's the committee going to look at that?
But a lot of pressure, a lot of emotions, revenge.
Oh yeah,
on that I know on our minds.
Yeah, that was backstory on that one.
That's my homer one. I do have another one, but I'll let you guys go.
Homer in the fact that's your team, but that's a great.
It's on all of our lists.
Yeah,
and my other homer one's Notre Dame, Wisconsin. Just let's get the season started. Can't wait.
Week 1.
I
think Notre Dame's
a Lambeau Field.
I think Notre Dame's gonna send a message with that game. I really do. I love your coach, Marcus Freeman.
Freeman's a good coach, good dude.
He's great. But,
I got Ole Miss LSU as one of mine.
That was my other one. I was waiting for somebody else to bring it up. I just can't wait to watch that one.
Just because of the
if you give me a game that I could go to and be able to hear the banter between fans and hear what they're yelling.
That's more of a backstory than the Miami Notre Dame game. That's revenge. That's revenge.
They did whoever is a filmmaker, if you ever watch this before this game happens in week 3, forget any other ESPN documentary, 60 for 60.
What's that?
I want the LSU Ole Miss game this year. That's a documentary. Yeah. That's a documentary I want to watch. I want the unfiltered, unedited version. I want to hear everything they say, they throw, they do at Kiffin. And then let's get to the football field.
Ole Miss fans are respectful.
Will they be?
I think so. I think, a lot of SEC teams, it's different than the Big 10. We're rowdy idiots up here. But
until you get to Georgia where they bark in your face.
Well, I haven't, Alabama came to Penn State years ago, kicked our butts.
Yeah.
But their fans were so respectful. They wore nice, dresses and suits and stuff. And you got guys walking around with their shirts off at Penn State acting like idiots. Auburn fans were super respectful. We talked to some. I just think the SEC now, how much do they hate Lane Kiffin? So all that could go out the window and be like, you know what?
Well, that's
this
is
personal.
That's why I think it's going to be so personal how it happened. And then you get on the field and it's, you've got players that Kiffin knows.
But don't think Kiffin don't have something up his sleeve for them too.
Kiffin's a great coach. Yeah. There's a reason everybody wants him.
Yeah.
He's a great coach. And
he's funny on social media. He's on social media.
He got rid of social media.
Oh, did he? Yeah. I remember his daughter would do hey dad, and do skits on TikTok or something. But yeah, I don't have it. I'm impartial when it comes to Kiffin. So
I have Miami Notre Dame because I think it's the biggest game on our schedule.
Yeah.
I have Georgia Alabama because It's such a great game every year. And then Memphis, Boise State, I think is a big one for playoff. I think it's a big one for playoffs. Neither one of them are going to smell the playoffs. You don't think the winner of that game can make a playoff?
No, it could.
But
you don't think they learned their lesson last year, putting them two, JMU and Tulane in the playoffs about
only one's getting in?
No, that's why I said this could be a big.
It could be. Okay, yeah, you're right.
But I think my pick for game of the year has to be Ohio State and Texas. As much as I hate to make that my pick,
it's early, and it means a lot. And
it means a lot.
I respect both teams for taking that game. That's awesome for the sport. So I always say I'm a football fan that roots for Penn State. I'm a football fan that roots for the Steelers. I say I don't like Ohio State, but I respect them for taking that game. Yeah. That's tough.
They could have canceled it.
Absolutely.
I mean, everybody's canceling the big games now, right?
But there are
to keep playing that game. I think is awesome.
You want competition, man. Yeah. Nobody wants to go out there and roll over nobody's and go to the playoffs and get smoked. Get some competition.
You mentioned Bama. Fun game to be at. Bama Vandy. At Vandy this year, where they beat them.
That's right.
With Diego Pavia. So now you've got Jared Curtis, a 5-star quarterback. That'd just be a fun game to go.
You know what? It could be competitive. I know you have high hopes for Bama, but they might be closer than what we think.
And
I don't know.
You don't think?
I'm not big on Vandy this year.
I'm more saying Bama's not going to be as good.
I just think that's a revenge game for Bama.
They might send
a little bit more of that one. Send a message. It's week 11.
So you're taking Ohio
I'm going to take Ohio State and Texas.
Well, I have basically all the ones you mentioned so far. Miami, Notre Dame's on my list. Ohio State, Texas on my list. LSU, Michigan on my list. I put Indiana, Ohio State. I don't think it's going to be. It could be.
It's at Ohio State, right?
Yeah, it's at Ohio State. That's going to be tough. And Oregon. Ohio State's got a couple home games that are. I mean, they got to go to. Is it Ohio State, Texas game?
Texas.
But it's in Austin.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know it was a neutral
site. Which means it's a 7:30 game and not getting big noon.
Oh, that's good. I hate big noon kickoff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not sorry, Fox, but Oregon at Ohio State.
That's
that week 10, man. We're going to talk about that. I wrote down all those games.
Yeah.
That's brutal. That's a brutal week. And Texas at Texas A&M, I think, is it the last game of the season?
Yeah.
Texas could be fighting for the playoff lives. Texas A&M could knock them off.
A&M could be fighting for playoff lives, too.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the last one I put, which is the last weekend too, Virginia Tech. It could be interesting depending on how Franklin does at Virginia Tech. I think Virginia was 11 wins, 10 years. No, they had 10 wins last year.
10 wins, but did not make the conference championship.
Duke had 8
5
wins?
losses. Yeah, they
7-5 and made the championship. They got to fix that.
They did.
Oh, okay, good. Because Virginia Tech could be, local rivalry.
Road for Brule is the starter for Virginia.
That's why I love that.
Franklin.
Yeah, a lot going on there.
So I put that on my list. I keep going back to Big Ten. These are my two. I think Oregon at Ohio State on week 10 is going to be. That's going to basically depend. That might dictate whether Penn State. Like you said, if they can make a run, goes to the big Michigan, USC makes sure.
I think so many
that
things.
That could knock one of them out of the championship.
Even playoff consideration.
Ohio, what year? Was it 2 years ago when Ohio State won the national title game? They didn't even make the Big Ten championship game, right?
Right, yeah.
Oregon and Penn State. So them not making the Big Ten championship game isn't the worst thing in the world because you can still win a national title, obviously.
And you get an extra week off.
Exactly. I'm not saying they did that on purpose, but they weren't heartbroken. I can tell you that. But I'm going to say Oregon.
I think them losing to Michigan that year actually
helped them.
Put the fire in
that's what led them. Was Ryan Day on the hot seat after that?
You would have thought so.
I don't think.
I don't think
that's the fans talking. We don't know what goes on inside.
You're not getting rid of him for that game.
No, who they going to pick? I mean, Hartline could have moved up. I don't know. But, yeah, Oregon at Ohio State. That's my my game of the year.
All these big games. Let's talk about who do you think is going to be. I know it's how many games there are, but what's going to be the biggest upset of the year?
Oh, well, if you want, I'll keep talking. I wrote, here's what I did. I think it's going to be one of 4 teams in 2 conferences. It's always, I said before, Kentucky and Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky mainly, they'll knock somebody off. So Kentucky plays Bama, A&M, LSU, Oklahoma, and Louisville. Florida plays Ole Miss, Texas, Georgia and Oklahoma. Those are the games that I would consider upsets. I think either of those teams could knock one of them off at the right time. I went to the Big Ten. Northwestern or Michigan State can knock someone off because Michigan State's going to beat the bottom of the barrel.
I just don't know how much talent Michigan State really has.
Not yet. But I'm looking at Michigan State. I mean, Michigan State plays Notre Dame. Do I think they're going to beat them? No, I wouldn't pick that, but it'd be a huge upset.
Yeah.
Same with they play Washington, Oregon, Northwestern. They Indiana. Could they knock off Indiana? Could they give PSU fits again? Oregon, Ohio State. But if I had to pick, I think Kentucky. I'm going with my man Justin. I think Kentucky over
Alabama,
LSU, or Louisville. I think Louisville at the end of the year would have a shot to go to the ACC championship game, and I think UK knocks them off and keeps them out. So I think that's going to be my biggest upset. Kentucky over Louisville, last game of the season.
Okay. Rick?
So I got 2 games. October 24th, Wisconsin, USC. That's the game that gets Lincoln Riley fired.
Middle in the season.
In season. Listen to this. Listen to the breakdown of their schedule.
Okay, let's hear it.
They go Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
Washington, at Penn State, at Wisconsin.
Okay. So they win 2 out of 4?
I think they lose all 4.
Oh, that's a bold statement. Okay.
Wow. I think they lose all 4 of those games.
So
and then your next game is the following week against Ohio State. So if you've already lost 4, you're going to fire them at the end of the season. You'll fire them before Ohio State anyway.
We want to before a bye.
There's no bye week. Nope. I think you'll lose 4 straight. You're at Wisconsin.
Okay.
I think you're going to be losing the fan base, so you might as well name the interim coach, try to get some fire in the Coliseum for when the next game is Ohio State coming into town.
Pretty bold.
My other one also involves a coach firing.
You love firing coach.
And it's UConn over UNC on November 7th, and that ends the Belichick era.
November 7th? Well, yeah,
that's week 10, right?
Yeah, that's week 10.
Week 10, week 11, somewhere around there. But I think both of those coaches are getting fired in season. Maybe Belichick steps away for, something at that point. But those are my 2 upsets that I see.
Okay.
All right.
Just thinking outside the box, not going with anything crazy.
You already told yours, right?
Yeah, I took Kentucky over Louisville.
I have 3 written down. First week, I have Clemson potentially beating LSU. First game for Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I can see that.
Trying to move the point.
I can definitely see that.
2 of them include LSU. I don't know why. LSU goes into Auburn. And if that's
and
a
you
night
could
game,
absolutely be right, because Lane Kiffin can go in there. I mean,
but he was bold with his, so I'm going to be bold with mine.
So you're picking something else.
I'm going to Provo.
Really?
BYU over Notre Dame.
Okay.
What week's that? At BYU?
That's week 9?
It's week 7.
Week 7.
Week 7, okay. Well, let's see. Let me pull up their schedule and see who they have before
BYU
and after. No, Notre Dame. I mean, I'm not saying they'd ever overlook BYU, but I think we're just giving BYU too much credit. I really do.
Darren Bachmeier's still there. He's seasoned.
Can he repeat that? That'll be after our Stanford game for Notre Dame. I
was like, that's a bold.
It is.
If it's a bold pick, it's going to be
an upset.
Definitely a later game.
Yeah.
Will be an upset.
And then they got Navy over Notre Dame. Navy's supposed to be good this year.
They are supposed to be good.
Yeah, so
I think we have figured out the Navy enigma that troubled us for a little while. The only thing that I worry about with that Navy game that you bring it up is the next week is Miami.
Yeah. Trap game.
So you have BYU, you have a bye, then you have.
I don't know if I believe in trap games. I don't.
You don't believe
it's easy to say, but like I said, I've never been involved in that level. Like, how could a team just overlook someone?
Yeah.
I mean, you can game plan.
You don't get it. Like, do you think?
I think some of it is not showing all of your, running more vanilla plays and
then it catching on its own.
It usually happens in the early season, though, with the vanilla plays, because once you get into the heart of their schedule, you're going to be pulling out stops to win a game.
I mean, you figure, I've always thought, I might be wrong in this, but for some reason, I've always thought Notre Dame had tough schedules. I thought they played tough. With not being in the conference, everyone said they don't play a hard enough schedule. What's easy about this? Wisconsin, BYU, Navy, Miami, SMU, even Syracuse has had good years. I mean,
Syracuse, they had so many injuries last year. They were looking really good with Steve Angeli, former Notre Dame guy. Then he tears his Achilles. He's out. They came to Notre Dame at the end of the year, and Notre Dame won in a landslide. But they had so many starters out hurt.
Yeah.
So they're by the end of the season, you want to say a trap game. If Notre Dame's undefeated, running through that, and then you beat Syracuse last year 70-7. And now I'm going to Syracuse. Are you going to take that game as serious?
Yeah.
So, a team like a Syracuse that could rebound pretty big.
Absolutely.
Real quick, here's a team that Boston College.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they were good. And Bill O'Brien's still up there?
He is.
How are they not better?
They lost Tommy Castellanos. He was pretty good for him at Boston College. He transferred down to Florida State. He wasn't a big hit there.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say pretty much don't know.
I don't think they had that good of a
Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in. I
Yeah.
saw them on their schedule. I'm like, there was once upon a time Boston College was a tough out. Now it's like we're looking past them. We're talking about UConn more than Boston College.
Right.
And our third Tailgate Talk pick is going to be Circle this weekend. One weekend you don't want to miss.
I think this is easier than the ACC.
I wrote down 3.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
I wrote 1, and that's all I needed.
There's one that stands out. Go ahead.
I can give you 1. I can give you 2.
Let me start with the one that we all have, and then you guys can go with the ones. Once I got to this one, and I'll read them real fast. November 7th, you're going to have Virginia Tech at SMU, Penn State at Washington, Oklahoma at Florida, Bama at LSU, BYU at Utah, Georgia at Ole Miss, Texas at Mizzou, A&M at South Carolina, Kentucky at Tennessee. Kind of a rivalry in there. Cincinnati at Houston. What's Cincinnati? They any good?
Anything with the Big 12 at that point could have something going on.
West Virginia at Texas Tech, Louisville at Georgia Tech, Duke at NC State, Michigan rivalry game. Then Iowa and Northwestern. We haven't talked about Iowa at all. They're dangerous. They don't score a ton of points, but they stay close. And then the big ones for me are Oregon at Ohio State and Miami at Notre Dame. So what games do you watch in that weekend? It's like we're flipping back and forth.
Well, the problem for me is I'm not going to be able to watch any. I'll be at the Penn State game.
Oh yeah, you're going to Washington. Yeah, have fun up there. I'll be watching.
I'll be.
Don't worry, we'll be filling you in.
Yeah.
I think Week 10 is a great one. Like it reminds me of, and I want to go back to my old college days when we'd set up 5 or 6 different TVs, and you just sit out in the front yard and you had 5, 6 different games on right in front of you at all times because there's so many good games to watch. That's mine as well. Another one that I'm excited about is Week 0 because it just means that college football is back.
That's good.
But Week 10,
we'll be picking them.
Yeah. We're starting the Sean versus Sean next week, so we'll be starting with 5 Week 0 picks, and we want you to get involved too. We'll have a Google Doc set up where you can compete as well. Talking about potentially giving a jersey of choice to the winner. If you compete all year.
Jersey of our choice or their choice?
We'll see.
I can find them a nice jersey.
But yeah, we want you guys to get involved too. So if you want to compete, we'd be more than happy to have you.
Send your picks. See if you can beat these 2. I'll be providing a few picks as well, but I'll be moderating between these 2 because it's a contest. What you don't know, 2 Seans, 2 different spellings. Which one is the better spelling? We've got Sean, S-E-A-N. We've got Sean, S-H-A-W-N. Who has the better name? Who has the better football knowledge? And
who has the right spelling?
Who has the right spelling? They're going to determine it with their picks. And the loser has to concede that the winner's spelling is the correct way to spell it.
No, didn't agree to that.
Tune in. Join us.
Let's stay on track here.
Okay,
what's your next?
So I didn't go to Week 0 because that's a cop-out kind of. Week 0 kind of sucks, actually.
That's going to be hard picks. College, it's going to be hard picks.
Yeah,
hard, but college football's back.
Yes.
You're right, but the games will be
TCU,
not as
UNC,
good as Week 10. Okay.
So I got 2 other weeks that have some pretty good lineups. Not as deep as Week 10. Week 4 has Ole Miss, Florida, Oklahoma, Georgia, A&M, LSU, Oklahoma State, West Virginia.
Like that. That's it.
Iowa at Michigan, Oregon, USC, and Texas, Tennessee.
Texas, Tennessee.
It's in Knoxville. That's why.
Yeah, okay, that's tough to play down there.
And then week 7.
I think Oregon USC is a sleeper game. I mean, I know you're not big on them, but I think that's going to be
I mean, that's going to start that run for USC.
Yeah.
So, you beat that Oregon.
Yeah.
You know they should be undefeated going into Oregon. Now the rest of that schedule is like, well, you just beat Oregon. You got confidence riding high.
Okay.
Good pick on that game.
And week 7, I got to Auburn at Georgia.
Good one.
Alabama, Tennessee, always. Florida, Texas. Notre Dame, BYU is that week.
I think that's a sleep.
Arizona State, Texas Tech. TCU and Baylor. Florida State, Miami. Ohio State, Indiana is that week. And Penn State and Michigan is that week as well. So that one's pretty deep as well. So
that is a deep.
Those 3 weeks, I think, are the biggest weeks of the year. But week 10 is a
It's the winner, yeah. But just because of how many, like those other games you named, they're going to be tough.
It is a long season, but one thing that's ever changing is the playoffs. And from what I heard, I've been reading or hearing stuff about a 20-team playoff potentially.
I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan either. I think 12 is plenty.
16, if you have to go more, 16.
Stop.
Make
and
it
then
clean.
Stop.
I don't like those buys.
Here's what I don't agree with. Those teams that get a bye then have to go to the Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl. I think those should be the first. Those first 4 should be in a bowl setting, and then give the first 4 seeds a chance to play their own
home game. I had to sell my Penn State tickets for that home game we had because my daughter had a cheer competition. But I listened to it on the radio while we were driving. The guy I sold them to said it was electric. Like I want to go to something like that.
But I think those top 4 teams deserve it.
They deserve it.
5 through 8.
Absolutely.
And I think the buys, if you're off an extended period of time.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for some teams.
What are they, 1-7? Well, those teams are 1-7 coming off the bye week in the playoff. And
the other one was Indiana.
Indiana's the other
one, and they won it. So, yeah, I think they need to revamp it. Obviously, this year it's still 12. I think 16 is the number. Those messy brackets. I mean, we've been following wrestling brackets since we were little kids, and everything that's clean is always better. So 16, if you have to go that high.
Yeah. But I think they want to have those buys, so that's why they were looking at 20 and replacing the conference championship games with playing games. It's what I was hearing. I don't know. Don't hold me to that.
Who finished 20th last year in the polls?
That's what I'm saying. Once you get so far down, how many teams could win a national championship? Last year.
But do you take the 20th team or do you take the 7th best SEC team? Because they're probably better than the second place.
Here's where I'm going to. Well, here's where I'm going to chime in again. I mentioned earlier. I believe every team, if you finish undefeated, you deserve a chance to win a national title. You've done everything that was asked of you. If you finish a season in college football undefeated, and they say, you know what, you don't even deserve a national title, what's the point?
And I think that's what led to the 12-team playoff.
Florida State. Central Florida. Oh,
Florida State going undefeated.
Central Florida wasn't undefeated that year?
That wasn't that year. That was 2017.
That one, when I say that year, that 1 year where they hang up banners.
Yes, USF did after they beat UCF. But after they beat Auburn in the Peach Bowl.
Perfect example. UCF how many years ago? Florida State. Irrelevant that the quarterback got hurt. Irrelevant. They earned the right. That there's
the rest of the players on that team.
Yes,
did the same thing. The defense did the same thing.
It does. Yeah, they deserve it. When you take that out of their hands and that's why people think the command. I agree. They'll change the narratives to fit the teams they want in. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I know ESPN, but you got to let the teams that win on the field get a chance. Now, if you're second place in the American Athletic Conference, sorry. I don't care if you have one loss. If the champion's undefeated, you have one loss, sorry. Yeah. I understand that. Right. Then you put your 6th, 7th place in the SEC. But to say, hey, Tulane, you went undefeated this year, but you didn't have a good showing last year, you don't get in. I think that's wrong.
And speaking of playoffs, I think there's a few locks this year. I have 2 written down for my playoff locks, and that's Notre Dame and Miami.
They're my top 2.
Yeah, I think that's the only 2 locks.
Well, you're right. Notre Dame. What's the stipulation? As long as they have
they're only in the top 12, they're in.
In the top 12, and they're in.
Yeah. Top
12. I bet you they have 2 losses and be in the top 12. They might even have 3 losses and be in the top 12. I don't know. 3-loss team has never made the playoffs.
Never made the playoffs.
Okay. So even still, look at their schedule and tell me that they'll lose more than 2 games.
Right. And if we do lose more than 2 games, we shouldn't be in the playoffs.
I agree. Yes.
And if you lose to a undefeated Miami by a field goal, and then say you lose to a 1-loss BYU, well, that's a little better.
Yeah,
And
but
it's not as bad as
to not finish in the top 12. I think that's what when the playoff lock. I wrote down several teams here that I think are playoff favorites, such as I think Ohio State, Oregon. I think Georgia, Texas, and Texas Tech. They're maybe favorite, but I think when you say lock, and even Miami, I don't know there's a lock. Because like we said, ACC, they can beat each other up.
I think
Miami's always good, though. In the last 2-3 years, they're always good for one of those out of nowhere. How did this even happen? Loss.
I think Miami is better than Notre Dame. But I think if you're saying who's a lock to make the playoffs, I think it's Notre Dame over Miami. I think they're both locks. I agree with you. Miami's a lock, too, to finish. But
Miami's not losing 2 games in the ACC. They might drop one.
You're right.
Well,
I think to answer your question, Notre Dame's the biggest lock.
So for me, I have 2 locks. I think Georgia is a lock.
You think so?
I think Georgia's going to
Can
be
you pull
in
up
there.
their schedule?
Absolutely.
And
let's see here.
I have them in the SEC championship with Bama. I just think they're going to be a lock.
So if they don't win the SEC, they're still in, right?
Oh yeah,
but they can make the SEC championship game with 2 losses. And if they lose,
Big Ten championship game, the loser has never missed the playoffs.
But has the loser had 3 losses?
I don't believe so.
That's what I mean.
But
are they gonna? Is this
not them get blown out by Georgia last year?
But
in the ACC or SEC championship, I would think so.
Wait, how many losses did Alabama have last year?
2.
But not counting the Georgia loss in the SEC title game.
I think they got their 3rd loss in the SEC.
So they had 3 losses to make the playoffs.
Pretty sure, yeah.
I will pull it up here. So here's Georgia's schedule: Tennessee State win, Western Kentucky win, Arkansas train wreck. Then you got Oklahoma versus Vandy, little break. Bama, Auburn, Florida, Ole Miss, Mizzou, South Carolina, Georgia Tech. Not terrible.
Yeah.
2 losses is anything over 2 losses would be kind of like you said with Notre Dame. They probably don't deserve to get in with more than 2 losses in that schedule. So that. Yeah, it's not your typical SEC gauntlet.
Yeah.
The other person that's the lock for me is the winner of Oregon OSU.
Okay.
Oregon Ohio State, whoever wins that game. I mean, they could actually. I think they could both easily be locks as well.
They could be.
They both get through their schedule.
Try not to be a homer, huh?
Try not to be a homer.
And you don't want to jinx it.
I will not jinx any of my picks.
Yeah, but you have to admit though, all you got to do is finish in the top 12. And I say that like it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but I mean, you got.
I try to take the homer out of this and look at it. Exclude Notre Dame from the things that I was picking. I do think Notre Dame is one of the teams that should be in there, should be a lock. But I'm gonna go with Georgia, and then either whoever, Oregon Ohio State. Since I have Ohio State winning the Big Ten, I'll go with them. But I can easily see both of those teams being locks too.
So to answer your question, I was wrong. They had 3 losses. That Georgia lost 28-7 in the title game. So it was their 3rd because they lost to Oklahoma.
Yeah. They got pounded.
No, it was 23-21.
They got pounded in the first round of the playoffs.
No, they won the first round. They beat
SEC championship. What was the score?
28-7.
Yeah, they couldn't run the ball
They beat Oklahoma first round. They returned the favor. They played Oklahoma first round, won 34-24, and then lost to Indiana in the second round. In the quarterfinals, 38-3, whooped them. Yeah. But to answer your question, they had 2 regular season losses. They made the SEC
title game.
First
team to make it with 3 losses.
And then they lost to Georgia. They didn't count that, even though it was a butt whooping.
Yeah.
And they let them in.
That's why.
But it was controversial.
It should have been Miami and Notre Dame both making it in.
Yes, I agree with that.
There's years where the SEC champion, and I get it. That's where the money is. They can't pick out the loser.
Stop right there. That's where the money is.
I know.
It's a shame that it comes to that because teams like Notre Dame, love them or hate them, didn't make the playoffs last year. Now, do I agree with them sitting out of that bowl game? No. I think that's a baby move. It's one thing to talk about players sitting out so they don't get hurt and all this stuff, but for them to just say we're not playing and taking the ball go home. I think I expected more out of
decision.
Freeman.
I mean, how when most of your players aren't going to play because everybody's emotions are high, and honestly, you needed a decision in like 24 hours after finding out about getting snubbed in the playoff.
Yeah.
So we talked about our locks. Why don't you give me your dark horse for the playoff?
Dark horse for the playoff. You already know it's Oklahoma State. Go Pokes, baby, go Pokes.
Yeah, I don't have to cross that one off.
Either.
It's not on there.
Another dark horse I have on there from Power 4 conference is Washington.
Okay, that kid,
Damon Williams. I think if you get him rolling, Jed Fitz loves his offense.
did he want to be at Washington? That was my question. Wasn't there some things where he was trying to transfer and?
Well, I think it was one of those. He wanted that money.
Yeah.
Money talks. As we said a little earlier about the transfer portal. But I think they have a pretty favorable schedule too.
Yeah.
And I don't think USC is going to meet expectations, so I think Washington could sneak in there.
I don't. That's definitely a dark horse. They're not out of the realm of possibility. I put a team from the Big Ten, 2 teams from the Big Ten in there that possible. A little homerism. I put Penn State in there.
Are they a dark horse? I think they're
a dark.
I think they're a dark horse in that.
How can a team that's predicted to finish 6th in the conference not be a dark horse?
That's true. But at the same time, they have a 3-game.
And you're not expecting Matt Campbell to come in and win a national championship year one.
Exactly.
You're expecting.
We're talking about making the playoff. So maybe they're not a dark horse. I threw Iowa in there. I think they could mess some people's plans up.
You go into Iowa and you only score 20 points and
20
if you're lucky. And so they have a pretty good schedule. Iowa's always a team that you turn around and you're like, man, how did they get here?
Yeah,
but here they are.
They're right there all the time. I love Ferentz's defense. Is always tough. I threw Virginia Tech in there. Not so much Virginia Tech this first year. But Virginia could surprise some people like Prabula. I love how he plays. I threw in Houston. I don't know if they're considered a dark horse. I think they're lower in the Big 12.
I think they're considered, their playoff odds are pretty high, so I think they're a dark horse.
At UNLV.
Yeah, but I have UNLV too.
I mean,
UNLV could win the big. Was the Mountain West?
That's what I talked about with the Boise State Memphis. I think Boise State, Memphis, and UNLV will be that'll be a fight for that.
Allow that again. I mean, I can't.
Well, there's guaranteed one Group of 6.
But there's like you said, there's several fights.
It could be at the 12.
LSU and Mizzou. LSU, I don't know if they're a dark horse. It's first year, coach there.
Right.
Tough schedule. Put Mizzou in there.
Yeah.
They've been good the last couple of years.
Tough and consistent.
Ahmad Hardy could be the best running back in the nation, depending on he can come back from injury. If he's not strong.
He's I think ranked one of the top running backs in the country. So with all that being said, my playoff dark horse, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm saying Penn State. Homer pick. I'm considering a dark horse just based on what happened last year. New coach. I think that's
no homerism on that pick.
No,
I'm glad you at least admitted it.
All homerism. All homerism.
And my picks, I wrote down Louisville because I think it's a dark horse for a second ACC team to get in.
I think I have the. I consider them like a UVA, like a Virginia level.
I got Louisville and Southern Methodist SMU as from the ACC because I don't think a second ACC team will get in unless they're 11-1.
Yeah.
I put BYU. I think they're probably predicted to finish 3rd in the Big 12, maybe 2nd. And again, it'll be a dark horse if a second team from the Big 12 gets in. Or if they win the Big 12, I think it's an upset. And UNLV is what I wrote. But I'm going to say Louisville just because I don't think it's going to take some extraordinary circumstances for a second ACC.
Don't worry. Kentucky's going to knock them off the last game of the year and keep them out.
So moving on to Heisman.
Ooh.
We got 2 more picks, and then we're going to finish things up.
How much time do we have? I have so much written down for Heisman.
I'll go first because I got 1.
One?
Well, I have 2.
Tell me.
I got Jeremiah Smith written down as a potential.
I like that.
But my pick, because of all the tools around him and because I think of what they're going to do this year, I think the Heisman is going to be Darian Munson. He has Malachi Tony. He has Mark Fletcher.
His numbers last year were staggering.
And he's got
weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost
So-
5 games last year.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah.
6.
And he's got
Well, six.
Barteki, who he, already is familiar with, has some rapport with. So he's coming, he's not one of those transfer quarterbacks that has to build
Yeah.
chemistry. It's right there. I think that's a really good pick. Jeremiah Smith is a great pick.
I did it mainly because of the weapons he has. It is the
Malachi Tony is.
Yeah.
Malachi Tony is somebody you could put on that list too.
Yeah.
Just put the ball in his hands
and you can put Mark Fletcher on that list too.
He's absolutely electric.
You can put any of the 3.
Who you picking?
Darian Menzel.
That's your pick.
Yes.
I like it.
I looked at Dante Moore, was one that I had down. It's a now or never year for him.
Yep.
He's got some talent around him. I also looked at Julian Saying because of Jeremiah Smith,
Exactly.
Brandon McInnes, and then the other transfer receiver that they brought in. I can't remember his name right now, but I think that if Jeremiah Smith has a big year, the Heisman's typically the quarterback award.
Yeah.
That's why I think.
But name
Menzel was a good-
notoriety with Jeremiah Smith. I think everyone knows that he's the best.
He's the best. Well,
He's the best athlete on the field.
Well,
And
how many times is the best athlete on the? See, that's why I don't like the Heisman.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the best college football player in the
Right.
country. But what'd you say? It turns into a quarterback award.
If Notre
You're
Dame's
telling me-
undefeated, number 1 ranking, CJ Carr's winning the Heisman.
Exactly. And it
If
goes
Penn
back
State's
to
undefeated, number 1, Rocco Beck's probably
not one.
the numbers. The numbers got to be there too.
Yeah.
If you've got great quarterback numbers, but I see what you're saying because to me, we'll go back to Larry Fitzgerald. How was he not the best college football player in the world? And
Right.
he didn't win he lost to Jason White.
Yeah.
Oklahoma quarterback. It's turned into the quarterback award, and that's sad. But who are you picking?
I'm gonna go Saying because I think Jeremiah Smith's gonna have a big year, put up numbers, and then when they try to slide coverage over to him, plus
He's going to move the ball to someone
plus
else.
they got a
and still build his number.
great running game with Bo Jackson.
Yeah, I love that name.
I mean,
Takes me back.
the original cheat code on a sports video game.
I don't like Ohio State, obviously, but I like that pick. I think Saying, even though, once again, Jeremiah Smith is he's the best college football player, but like CJ Carr, Arch Manning's getting some hype.
It's been long. We haven't mentioned Arch's name.
Yeah, Arch Manning's on there. Dante Moore is on there. Gunnar Stockton, he plays for Georgia. They can run the table.
Georgia goes undefeated.
Yeah, Mensa, obviously. Mensa's numbers last year were stupid. Almost 4,000 yards and 34 touchdowns at Duke. That's crazy. Trinidad Chambers with Ole Miss, if they make a run.
Lacey at Ole Miss, if they make a run, they're gonna rely on him a lot too.
I had some super sleepers here. Just based on LSU alone, I put Levitt in there. You never know, he could sling it. My Via from USC, if they may, I mean, I know you don't think much of him, but they can throw.
I mean,
the ball
he's a great
around.
quarterback. So if USC's another team that goes off,
yeah, and they put
he's
it's number driven, and USC's it's in LA, so they're getting a lot of eyes on him. I put. Obviously, Rocco Beck is not going to win the Heisman, but I put it on. Like you said, I mean, what if they make a run and he throws for an average of 350 a game? You don't know,
right? Or he throws for 250 a
it's
game
not
and
likely,
runs for
but-
85 yards.
Yeah. And then I put a running back on here, Ahmad Hardy from Mizzou, coming back from an injury, but what's he capable? I put that Brown from Auburn, the quarterback,
Brown,
that transferred from South Florida, and. Shout out Brandon. I put Cam Cook in there from WVU. They're not going to win as many games, but that dude, he's a stud running back. So all that being said, I think it's going to be a quarterback like it always is. I think it's going to be a winning team. I think it's going to be Dante Moore. I think Oregon's been good at quarterback for how many years now? Like back to Mariota and Justin Herbert, and I'm going to go with Dante Moore. I think he's my Heisman pick.
So here's a question: since none of us picked Arch, is he a Heisman finalist?
Depends. In my
Does
circumstance,
he stay healthy?
Right. I
What's
think
Texas do?
like the fact, we're probably going
Probably.
to get flamed because none of us picked Arch Manning to win the Heisman.
I'm not saying it's a terrible pick either.
Yeah.
I like other people to have a better season because Jeremiah Smith is walking 1,500 receiving yards this year before he gets off the bus.
You're right. You're always going to have a Heisman finalist that some people are like, what's he doing?
I think if Arch Manning makes the Heisman finalist, I think if he makes ceremony, he would win it. So I'm going to say no.
I mean, I think if he puts up the numbers,
I think because of name notoriety, and I think if he's in the Final Four, he would end up winning it. Obviously, depending on.
I mean, it depends. Like we've said, the team's record.
Yeah.
Texas is 1 loss or undefeated. They're top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Arch probably is a huge reason for that, and he's playing like the glimpses that we've seen of his, living up to
I
the
think he's a
family
finalist. I just think Dante Moore is going to put up video game numbers.
Selfishly, I'd like to see Leonard Moore there as a defensive player, and
I would love to see a defensive player.
But I don't think he's going to get the ball thrown his way enough to put up any numbers.
Yeah.
So you're more or less to find somebody that's if it's a defensive player, it's a defensive end that's going to come out and impact the game like Rodriguez did last year.
Yeah.
To get the chance to be there as a finalist. But we all agree it's a quarterback award.
All right, Bob, bring us hat.
Final pick. Who's your national champ? Who wants to lead us off with this?
I'll start. I'm not going to read off all the teams I wrote down. All I did was I made a list of all the teams I think was going to make the playoffs. Maybe ones that have a chance to, but probably it's between 3 or 4 teams. Ohio State, Oregon, Miami, Texas, or Georgia. No disrespect to Notre Dame. Once they get in the playoffs, I think they'll have a different.
Penn State?
Didn't even. Well,
I don't know. You have on your list.
I think my pen just automatically writes. So, I think Ohio State. I think Sayin is going to do what he needs to do. I think Jeremiah Smith. I think the defense is going to show up when they have to. I think Ohio State's going to win the Big Ten and make a run in the playoffs. I like them. I don't like them, but I like them to win the national title.
I agree. I cannot pick my Irish, and the only reason that I can't, and yes, I called them my Irish. Don't like it. Don't care. I don't want to. I'm not going to be the reason that we jinx it. I'm not that type of person. But I think as much as I'd like to see my Irish win, going against the jinx, and I think Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith's just the best player on the field, and I think it's going to show all season long.
Okay. I'm the only one different. I'm taking the U. Like my Heisman pick, I think that has a lot. His year has a lot to do with it. Darian Mensah. I think Miami got a taste of what it could be last year.
His coach too.
And I love Cristobal.
I heard you talk to that Miami fan on the podcast, and he's changed it down there for sure.
He's brought the U back. I think the U is back. They got the weapons.
I was rooting for him last year.
They got the defense
against Indiana.
And I just think they come out and they're a playoff lock once they get in there. I think they have enough games to be battle tested, maybe, and I think they pull it off this year. They made it to the national championship last year. They shut down Ohio State's offense last year, and I think they pull it off this year.
Right. I can't argue that.
I can't argue with Ohio State either. So it's early, but we got to put these out here so we can come back
and make fun of ourselves.
And make fun of ourselves.
Which one of our picks do you like the best? Which one do you think is absolute garbage? Which one of us are you going to roast the most for our pick?
If you wanna join in, we're going to be doing a weekly pick'em. We would love you to be a part of it. And if you don't like our picks, please let us know below. That's it for now. We'll see you next week for Tailgate Talk.